Today's tech tip is going to be talking about how to set up a scheduled report through a flow. I say scheduled report, but what it is actually we're just building a table and sending it through an email through a flow. And then if you'd like, you can put a link to a report in your flow. The reason I came across this is I had a requirement from a client where they wanted to have a report emailed out to a group of people every hour. And the report subscription model that allows you to schedule and email reports, the fastest it'll run is daily. So I found this solution, which allows me to build a table into an email, and I can send it from a flow, and I can schedule it to run as often as I would like through the flow. So let me walk you through this and kind of show you how this works and what there is. There's a lot of applications for this, and I'll do more videos about doing emails through flows, because emails through flows is very flexible and opens up much more possibilities of what you can do. And there's some cool things you can do with it. So let's look at this. The main thing with this is building a table to go inside your email. So to start with, there's a couple of resources you have to build to get started. We're going to start with this one. Down here we have a var table resource where we're putting in some HTML code to start our table. The next one is the table columns, where we're setting up the columns and the column headings on your table. And in this one, you will need to go through and edit this to have the columns that you want. You'll see here I have ID, I have first name, I have last name, and I have lead source. So those are my column headings that are going to be on my table. So you can this is just HTML code. So if you need to add something to this, all you would have to do is grab one of these pieces in the middle here, copy it, paste it in there, and then change this right here. Maybe we also want to add phone number. Okay, so now your table columns are set up. The next one is a formula. Right here I have for table row. So this one is going to actually add the data to the table. And you'll see I've got this in a loop. This is inside this loop. I'll show you that in just a minute. But basically what you got here is more HTML code where you're just defining what fields on the record to pull into your table. And you'll want to make sure that these are in the same order that they are in your columns, or else your data is not going to line up with your column headings. Now I just added phone number in, so I'm going to do that here. I'm going to copy this line and paste it there, and I'm going to change last name to phone. Now these do have to be valid field names, so if it's a custom field, don't forget to make sure you have your _C on it, or you can simply come up here to insert a resource and use your variables here to add your fields. With formulas, be sure to check your syntax, make sure it's all valid, and then hit done. And now you've got your formula set up there. Okay. Now that sets up your table with your formulas. Now the last thing over here is I have a text template for my email body. And this is very simple. So this was designed just to show a list of leads as part of a Service Cloud voice setup. So we just have a quick message at the top, and then we put in the var table variable. Now earlier I showed you that that's just setting up the table itself, but I'll show you how this actually comes together. So inside your flow, the first thing I'm doing is I'm getting a list of leads. And in this case, I'm getting a list of all leads created after 6.1 and with the lead source of web. And I'm putting these into a collection variable. So I'm getting all of my leads, I'm putting them into a collection variable, and I'm getting the fields that I'm going to utilize in my table right here. Next, I do a quick decision just to make sure, did I find any leads? Because if I don't find leads, the flow is going to fail, and I don't want that. So this is just a nice simple error handle we put in. The next piece is starting to build the actual table. So inside the flow, we're going to add the columns to the table variable. And then we're going to jump into our loop. So we're going to loop through our leads. And inside the loop, we're going to do another table add, and we're going to use that formula for the table row. This is going to add the data from the record inside the loop to the table and start to build out the table. So you're going to see that grow. The second item here is just for the scheduler tool that I have installed later. It's just to grab a record ID, because that's an update I need to make to that schedule tool at a later point. After the flow finishes, we simply add a slash table to close the table markup. And then I'm using the flow send email action. I'm giving it the email body text template here. I have a CSV list of email recipients. Now this you could add to your flow where you grab a collection of users, and you could use this one up here to send the email to a collection of users. The nice thing is doing it this way, and you could do both even. You could send to a collection of users and to a list of emails. Either way, the point is you can send it to people who are Salesforce users as well as people who are not, which is another limitation of the report subscription tool, is you can only send it to people who are Salesforce users. This allows you to expand that list outside of your Salesforce user base. A lot more that you can define here in the send email action. A critical piece right here, though, is this rich text formatted body. Make sure that is marked as true so that it renders your table properly. And then throw a subject on there and you're done. And then these last elements are just part of my scheduling tool that we'll go over in another video. This just allows me to schedule this to be run whenever I want it to run next. So now that we've done that, we're going to debug it. I really don't have any inputs on this, so I don't have to worry about that. So I'm just going to hit run. And I'm going to see that everything looks like it went through properly. And if I come look at my send email, I can see it's the HTML code, but I can see my table has been built out here and I can see the data there. Now, I have this set up right now. If I go look at my email recipients, this is coming to myself. If I flip over to my email box, I can pull up that email and I can see right here, here's my table. I got my IDs, I got my first name, I got my phone, I got my last name, and see, I got these backwards somewhere in my code, so I have to fix that. And I've got an extra one here as well. Which is why we always run debugs and test our flows before we send them into production, right? So now I need to fix my phone and last name, and I need to get rid of the originating campaign. So let's come look for those real quick. So I'm going to start by going to my columns. And if I look here, I've got ID, first name, phone. So I need to move this. So let's cut this out. And let's put it over here after last name. Lead source, and then there's that originating campaign tag at the end. Now I'm going to go back and verify phone and last name were flipped and originating campaign. So by fixing my table columns just like that, I can see that my data is in the correct order, just my column headings are off. So fixing that table columns variable is all I need to do. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to debug it again. And I'm going to go look for the new email, and here we go. ID, first name, last name, phone, web. And again, I messed up my tag there as well. So let's go look at it one more time. So lead source, and you'll see right there is the problem. I cut off my beginning character for the code there. One more debug and we should be good. There we go. ID, first name, last name, phone, lead source. All the data is where it belongs, and there's my table. So there you go. There's a quick little tip for you, how to build a table into an email inside of a flow, which could be used as scheduling a report. As you can see, it's done with HTML code. So if you know HTML, you could adjust that code and make it fancier. You could group things, you could add color, you could do whatever you want to with it from there. Those text templates are just HTML. So your limits are HTML limits. You can do whatever you would like with them from there. Hope that's helpful. Keep subscribing, keep watching. More videos are coming all the time. Thank you very much.